I gave a talk a little less than 2 years ago, and the title of my talk was How Not to Think About Artificial Intelligence. The idea there is that human brains, we shouldn't think about AI as being like a human brain. It's different. And one of the key ways that it's different is, I mean, I'm looking at you and I can see that you have 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 voice, as I do. But the computer can have billions of eyes, billions of ears, billions of voices. We have these big servers, these big AI servers. You know, we know who they are. I mean, they're the huge internet companies and governments and so on. And they connect via the internet to cameras and phones and all sorts of devices with which they can sense what's going on with, you know, billion people. And so I can't directly interact with a billion people, but an AI can. And that makes it very much different from me. So even though the AIs, the current AIs, lack many of the skills that I have, they have skills that I can't even come close to, which is the ability to know all about a billion people. And so if you look at what's happening, especially in China, there's this, they are really gung-ho for this. They are very gung-ho for AI, and they want to keep, you know, they keep Google and Facebook out because they see AI as a way to control populations, a way to surveil populations, and they do not want AIs in the United States surveilling and controlling the Chinese population. They want the AI in China to be surveilling and controlling the Chinese population, that AI that they control. You know, when we think about politics, we often think, a lot of people think, well, you know, if only everyone thought like I did, then the world would be all right. If only I could convince everyone to think the way I think, the world would be great. So
what are the guardrails? What are the protections? Do we need like a codification of our own, you know, principles? Do we,
we need openness. You know, one of the things that's going on with AI right now is there's all these AI ethics principles being disseminated. There's a wonderful book on AI written by Stuart Russell. It's called Human Compatible. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you get that book. Okay. It's a great book, the best book on AI. And in his book, he says he has identified 200 separate efforts to list AI ethics principles. And I mean, think about automobile safety. So go back to when Ralph Nader was testifying in Congress and all this stuff. And with that came a lot of laws regulating automobiles. Well, imagine instead of all that, the auto companies had just gotten together and enumerated a set of safety principles, you know, and said, no, hey, we're great. That solves the problem. We got safety principles. I mean, it doesn't cut it. So I believe that a lot of these AI ethics efforts are really an effort to avoid facing the really difficult issue of openness, especially openness, but regulation in general.
I guess if the number one facet of those codes is what you say, is transparency, then everything leads from there, right?
But they don't. I mean, if you read those principles, they do not say total transparency. That's what they don't say. And in fact, there was a great article in December of 2019, so that's less than a year ago, about the big pushback at Google against transparency. I mean, Google, you know, Sergey Brin and Larry Page had started their company off with the idea of being very transparent, especially among their employees. And there was this article in the Yahoo financial section, I think it was Yahoo, about the pushback against transparency. And these companies don't want to be transparent. You know, they don't want it because they're in business. They're in business to make money. And if you give all your trade secrets away, that's not good for business. So, and my point is, you know, these guys could be completely transparent and they would still make billions of dollars, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing about transparency is it would enable them to enforce their patent and copyright, you know, because they would know what their competitors, if their competitors stole their algorithms or something, they would know it, you know. I'm gung-ho for transparency and accountability. I mean, what I said in that little, I wrote this thing in May, about accountability and transparency, where all inputs, not only the algorithms of information processing systems, but all the inputs have to be transparent to anyone who's in the range of effect of these inputs. I mean, it's a really radical idea. It's completely a radical change in the way that corporations are governed. And so it doesn't have a snowball's chance of happening, but.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, look, we've seen all sorts of, I don't know, what jolting technologies that then give rise to new ways of doing things. Stranger things have happened, certainly today. It doesn't seem that likely because on some level, it seems like a lot of the promises of both technology and the sorts of work that you and others are doing are then stifled either because of inertia and bureaucracy, or because in some ways of marketing, because it's not positioned in a particular way.
I think transparency and accountability face resistance from people that simply don't want it. They understand it very well. They just don't want it because, and it could be inertia in a sense that this is the way businesses run. This is how businesses work. We keep secrets. We use them to make, and we don't want to open up. But I think that the level of danger from artificial intelligence is so great that it needs a radical different approach. It's not like other technologies, because other technologies, let's put it this way, AI, the human brain is a source of science and technology. And if we build machines that improve on the human brain, then it's a radically different kind of proposition. And, humans, there's a real prospect of humans becoming very much second-class citizens in our world. And there's history provides lots and lots of examples of when a group of people becomes unnecessary, serves no purpose, no useful purpose to the wealthy and powerful, when a group of people perhaps is even a liability, seen as a liability by the wealthy and powerful, that group of people don't do so well. There's two ways to think about the danger of AI. An awful lot of people who talk about the danger of AI, for them, the danger is that human beings will lose control of AI and that AI will act independently. That's not the danger that I see. I see the danger that humans remain in control of AI. And the question is, which humans?